Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have you told yourself, I know what to do, but I just don't do it? You know you should exercise, but you skip it. You know you should save money, but you spend it. You know you should stop procrastinating, yet you delay. Knowledge is not the problem. Action is. The truth is, success is rarely about not knowing. Most of the time, we already know what steps to take. But the gap between knowing and doing is where dreams die, goals fade, and potential is wasted. The bridge across that gap is discipline, clarity, and courage. Today, I want to break this down into 7 powerful insights that will help you move from knowing into doing. We live in a time where knowledge is everywhere. With just one click, you can watch a tutorial, read an article, or listen to a podcast. You can learn how to build a business, improve your health, strengthen your relationships, or grow your wealth. Never in human history has knowledge been so widely available and so easily accessible. But here's the paradox. If knowledge alone changed lives, we would all be millionaires with 6-pack abs and unshakable confidence. Think about it. Doesn't everyone already know they should eat healthier? Doesn't everyone already know they should exercise more, sleep better, and save money? We all know these things. Yet, why do so many people struggle? Why do so many remain stuck in the same cycle of problems? Because knowing is not enough. Knowing the path and walking the path are 2 entirely different realities. It's like having a map but never leaving your house. You can study the map, memorize the routes, highlight the shortcuts, but unless you step outside and take the journey, the map is nothing but paper. Knowledge without execution is just wasted potential. Imagine a student who spends years collecting books, attending seminars, filling notebooks with lessons, but never applies them. Will he succeed? No, because the world doesn't reward what you know, it rewards what you do. The people who rise, the people who break through, the people who inspire us, they don't necessarily know more than others. What sets them apart is that they take action on the little they know. They don't wait for perfect understanding. They don't wait until they feel ready. They apply what they know right now in real life. So if you are sitting here saying, I know what to do, but I just don't do it, understand this truth. Your knowledge is useless until you put it into practice. Knowledge does not create change. Action does. Knowledge may light the spark, but action is what fuels the fire. Ask yourself, running through the park, what is one thing I already know I should be doing but I've been avoiding? That one action, if applied today, has more power than reading 10 more books, listening to 20 more speeches, or attending 100 more seminars. Because success does not come from knowing, it comes from doing. So the next time you find yourself saying, I know, stop for a moment. Ask, but am I doing it? Am I living it? Am I applying it? Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you know in your mind. It's about what you show through your actions. That's why knowledge without action is not just incomplete, it's useless. If knowledge alone was enough, we'd all be living the lives of our dreams. But there's another invisible barrier that stops most people from taking action, and that barrier is fear. Think about it. Why do you delay starting that business you've been dreaming about? Why do you keep postponing that workout routine? Why did you hesitate before making that important phone call, asking for that opportunity, or stepping into that room full of possibilities? It isn't because you don't know what to do, you already know. The real reason is fear. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of looking foolish, fear of the unknown, and sometimes even fear of succeeding. Because deep down, success means change, and change means stepping away from the comfort zone you've lived in for years. Our mind has an incredible way of disguising fear as logic. Instead of saying, I'm scared, the mind says, it's not the right time, or I need to do more research, or I'll start next week. These are not logical reasons. They're excuses rooted in fear. And the tragedy is, so many brilliant dreams die not because people lacked knowledge, but because they allowed fear to hold them hostage. Here's the truth: fear is not the enemy, inaction is. Every single person you admire, every leader, every entrepreneur, every achiever feels fear. They're not fearless. What makes them different is that they don't let fear control their choices. They feel the fear and act anyway. Let me give you a picture. Fear is like a shadow. It looks bigger than you. It looms over you. It whispers lies that you're not ready, not capable, not worthy. But the moment you take a step forward, the shadow shrinks. The closer you move towards action, the smaller fear becomes. The irony is, the only way to defeat fear is to do the very thing fear is telling you not to do. If fear says, don't speak up, that's your signal to speak. If fear says, don't take the leap, that's the sign you must leap. Because on the other side of fear is growth, freedom, and a stronger version of yourself. Ask yourself right now, what has fear been stopping me from doing? Is it writing that book? Launching that business? Having that difficult conversation? Going to the gym? Fear thrives in silence and hesitation, but it loses all power the moment you move. So the next time fear rises, don't try to eliminate it. Use it. Let fear be your compass. If it scares you, it probably matters. If it terrifies you, it probably has the power to transform you. Remember this: fear blocks execution, but courage unlocks it. And courage is not the absence of fear, it's action in spite of fear. So when you find yourself saying, I know what to do, but I just don't do it, pause and check, what am I really afraid of? Name that fear, face it, and then step forward anyway. Because your destiny is waiting on the other side of your fear. Most people wait for motivation before they act. They say, I'll go to the gym when I feel motivated. Or, I'll start my business when I feel ready. Or, I'll study when the mood strikes me. But here's the problem. Motivation is like the weather. It changes constantly. Some days it shines bright, and you feel unstoppable. Other days it's dark and heavy, and you feel like doing nothing. If you depend on motivation, your life will be inconsistent. You'll start strong but fade quickly. You'll live in cycles of excitement followed by long stretches of procrastination. And the truth is, nothing great is ever built on inconsistency. That's why discipline is far greater than motivation. Discipline means doing what you must do, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is waking up early when your body says sleep. Discipline is saying no to unhealthy temptations when your mind says yes. Discipline is sticking to your plan when every part of you wants to quit. Think about the greatest athletes, leaders, and creators in history. Do you think they were motivated every single day? Of course not. They had days of doubt, days of exhaustion, days when they wanted to give up. What carried them through was not fleeting motivation. It was the muscle of discipline, built through consistent habits and choices. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning, even when the spark is gone. Let me paint a picture. Imagine two people start going to the gym. The first one relies on motivation. For the first 2 weeks, they're excited. They post about it, buy new workout clothes, and feel energized. But then, motivation fades. They skip 1 day, then 2, then a week. Eventually, they quit. The second person relies on discipline. They don't always feel like going. They go anyway, rain or shine, tired or energetic, motivated or not. Day after day, week after week. Months later, one person has given up and the other has transformed their body and their life. Not because of motivation, but because of discipline. Discipline is a promise you make to yourself, and when you keep that promise, you build self-respect. You start trusting yourself, and when you trust yourself, you gain confidence. That confidence becomes unstoppable momentum. So if you find yourself saying, I know what to do, but I just don't do it, realize that what you're really lacking is not more motivation. It's more discipline. Motivation is nice to have, but discipline is non-negotiable. Here's the secret: you don't need to feel like doing something in order to do it. Your emotions don't have to give you permission. Action comes first, feelings follow. The more disciplined you are, more motivation you'll eventually feel. But you can't wait for it to appear first. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from excuses. Freedom from procrastination. Freedom from the roller coaster of moods. When you build discipline, you no longer live at the mercy of motivation. You live at the mercy of your choices. And that is the highest form of power. So let this sink in. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Motivation fades, but discipline compounds. Motivation pushes you for a moment, discipline carries you for a lifetime. One of the biggest reasons people don't act, even when they know what to do, is not laziness, it's lack of clarity. When your goals are vague, when your vision is blurry, when your next step is uncertain, you naturally resist taking action. Why? Because the mind hates confusion. When the road ahead looks foggy, hesitation becomes your default state. Think about it. How many times have you said, I'll start working on my goals tomorrow? Only to realize you never defined what exactly working on my goals meant. Or maybe you said, I'll get healthy, but never created a clear, actionable plan. Without clarity, your brain doesn't know where to start. And when it doesn't know where to start, it chooses the easiest option, doing nothing. Clarity is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see. Suddenly, the fear of tripping disappears. Suddenly, moving forward becomes natural and obvious. That's the power of clarity. It eliminates resistance. Let's break it down. Goals often feel overwhelming. I want to be financially free. I want to get fit. I want to build a business. These sound inspiring, but they're not specific. Your brain doesn't know where to begin. And because the brain craves certainty, when faced with vague goals, it responds with procrastination. But when you break those vague intentions into crystal clear steps, the resistance disappears. For example, instead of saying, I want to get fit, you say, I will jog for 20 minutes at 7 a.m. 3 times a week. Instead of saying, I want to save money, you say, I will transfer a 100 into my savings account every Friday morning. Instead of saying, I want to start a business, you say, I will research 5 suppliers today and send 3 inquiry emails before 5 p.m. Do you feel the difference? One feels heavy and overwhelming. The other feels light and doable. That's the magic of clarity. It breaks down mountains into pebbles. Clarity is also powerful because it creates focus. When you know exactly what to do, you stop wasting energy on distractions. You stop second guessing yourself. You stop bouncing between ideas. Instead, you direct your full energy toward one clear action. And the more focused you are, the faster you progress. Here's another truth: resistance often comes from uncertainty, not effort. People don't resist hard work. They resist confusion. You can push yourself through tough workouts if you know the exact routine. You can sit for hours working on a project if you know the exact steps. But when you don't know where to start, even the smallest task feels impossible. That's why clarity is not optional. It's essential. So, if you ever catch yourself saying, I know what to do, but I don't do it, ask yourself, do I really know what to do, or do I just have a vague idea? Maybe what you need is not more knowledge, but more clarity. Write it down. Break it into steps. Make it so clear that there is no confusion, no debate, no space for excuses. Because once clarity arrives, resistance disappears. And when resistance disappears, action becomes inevitable. Have you ever noticed how people live in alignment with the story they tell themselves? You can know exactly what you should do. You can even have the tools, the knowledge, and the opportunities. But if your identity, the way you see yourself, doesn't match the actions you need to take, you'll always sabotage yourself. Here's the truth: your actions will never rise higher than your identity. If you see yourself as lazy, you'll act lazy, even if you know you should work hard. If you see yourself as undisciplined, you'll skip commitments, even if you know the cost. If you see yourself as unworthy of success, you'll find ways to destroy opportunities, even when success is within reach. Why? Because your subconscious mind fights to remain consistent with who you believe you are. This is called identity-based behavior. Let's take an example. Two people are trying to quit smoking. Person A says, "I'm trying to quit smoking." Person B says, "I'm not a smoker." See the difference? One still identifies as a smoker who's trying to change. The other has shifted identity. They no longer see themselves as a smoker. Guess who is more likely to succeed? The one whose identity matches the change they want to create. This principle applies to every area of life. Want to get healthy? Don't just say, "I need to exercise." Say, "I am a healthy person," and healthy people exercise. Want to grow financially? Don't just say, "I need to save money." Say, "I am a disciplined steward of money." Your identity becomes the foundation, and your actions naturally flow from that foundation. Most people fail not because they lack willpower, but because they never shift their identity. Trying to build skyscraper results on a shaky foundation of old self-beliefs. They keep saying, "I know what to do," I don't do it. Because, deep down, their identity hasn't caught up with their knowledge. Here's the secret. Lasting change comes from changing who you believe you are. When you see yourself as disciplined, you'll act disciplined. When you see yourself as courageous, you'll take bold action. When you see yourself as successful, you'll start aligning your habits with success, even before the results show up. So how do you shift identity? You do it through repeated action and self-talk. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you say, "I am consistent, I am disciplined, I am worthy of success," you rewire your subconscious to align with your new self-image. It's not about faking it. It's about becoming it. Because once your identity shifts, your actions will follow effortlessly. You won't have to force yourself anymore. Action will feel natural because it matches who you believe you are. So, ask yourself, who do I believe I am right now? And is that identity serving my future? If not, it's time to rewrite the story. Stop saying, "I know what to do," "I don't do it." Start saying, "I am the kind of person who follows through. I am the kind of person who acts." Because at the end of the day, your actions don't shape your identity as much as your identity shapes your actions. When you see yourself differently, you live differently. And when your identity aligns with your destiny, nothing can stop you. Here's something powerful. You will often do more for others than you will do for yourself. When no one is watching, it's easy to make excuses. It's easy to snooze the alarm, skip the workout, delay the project, or push your goals aside. But when someone is watching, someone is expecting, when someone is counting on you, you rise to a higher standard. That is the power of accountability. Accountability is the invisible force that pushes you into action, even on the days when you don't feel like it. It's like having a mirror held up to you, reminding you that your choices are not made in isolation. Accountability makes your commitments real. Think about it. Why do athletes perform at their peak? when they have a coach? Why do students submit assignments when deadlines are set? Why do professionals deliver when their team depends on them? It's because accountability creates pressure, and pressure creates performance. Without accountability, your goals remain private dreams. With accountability, they become public commitments. And when you make a commitment that others are aware of, you feel compelled to follow through, running through the park, because deep down you don't want to be seen as inconsistent, unreliable, or weak. Let me give you a practical picture. Imagine you set a goal to wake up at 5 a.m. to work out. If you're doing it alone, chances are high that when the alarm rings, you'll say, just 5 more minutes, and go back to sleep. But now imagine you promised a friend that you'll meet them at the gym at 5:30 a.m. Suddenly, the game changes. Even if you feel tired, you'll drag yourself out of bed because someone is waiting and you don't want to let them down. That's accountability in action. And it doesn't stop at fitness. Accountability applies to every area of life. In business, entrepreneurs thrive when they have mentors or mastermind groups holding them to their commitments. In personal growth, people progress faster when they join communities where progress is tracked and celebrated. Even in relationships, accountability keeps us grounded. When we promise loyalty, honesty, or consistency, that commitment to another person strengthens our resolve. Here's the truth. You are far more likely to do what you already know you should do when you're accountable to someone else. But here's the deeper layer. Accountability is not just about others, it's also about yourself. Ultimate accountability is self-accountability, being able to look in the mirror and say, I keep the promises I make to myself. When you build that kind of integrity, you no longer need external pressure. You become your own coach, your own mentor, your own accountability partner. That's when your growth skyrockets. So, if you keep saying, I know what to do, but I don't do it, maybe the missing link is accountability. Running through a park, maybe you need to stop trying to do everything in isolation and start surrounding yourself with people who will challenge you, encourage you, and hold you to your highest potential. Find a coach. Join a group. Share your goals publicly. Create systems that force you to follow through. And most importantly, build the inner accountability that refuses to betray yourself. Because knowledge plus accountability equals action. Consistent action equals transformation. Remember this: when no one knows, you can quit quietly. But when others know, quitting becomes loud. And that's when you find the strength to keep going. My friends, the truth is simple. You already know what to do. You've always known. Deep down, your heart whispers it every day. The problem has never been knowledge. The problem has always been action. Tries to hold you back. Laziness tries to delay you. Excuses try to comfort you. But the truth remains, your life will not change by what you know. It will only change by what you do. So the real question is not, what should I do? The real question is, when will I finally start doing it? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when the timing feels perfect. The answer must be now. Because every day you delay, you push your dreams further away. Every action you take, no matter how small, brings you one step closer to the life you deserve. So stop saying, I know what to do. Start saying, I will do it now. Because your future doesn't depend on your knowledge. It depends on your courage, your discipline, your clarity, your identity, your accountability, and your willingness to take that first step today. So, take the step, take the leap, do it now. And one day, you'll look back and realize, you didn't just know what to do, you did it. And that made all the difference.